Joe Biden is the Vice President of the United States. Mr. Vice President, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, Matt. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So the World Health Organization says we're now at a level 5 in terms of the threat. By their definition, that means that a pandemic or epidemic over a wide geographic area is now imminent. Last night, the president said no plans to shut down the borders between the U.S. and Mexico, no plans even to curtail commercial air traffic or travel between the two countries. I think some people this morning, Mr. Vice President, may be shaking their heads, not understanding that. Help me out.
Well, I'll help you out by telling that we have contacted and been in constant contact with the leading health experts, both in the world as well as here in the United States, and they have suggested that that is not the way we should move. They suggested that what we should be doing is deal with mitigation, and that is the circumstances where large crowds of people, whether they're in schoolrooms or in soccer stadiums or in malls or whatever, where the flu is transmitted. Closing a classroom and closing a border are two fundamentally different things. And so we've been operating on the best evidence we've been given by the world's leading experts on pandemics and epidemics, and that's advice we can give.
Let's talk as non-experts, then you and me. It seems the president used last night to the horse in the barn. You know, you don't close the barn door after the horse has left. But when the horse leaves the barn, there aren't thousands and thousands of other horses waiting to stream out of the barn door. This is more like a water main break. It floods basements. You close down those houses and you clean them up. But wouldn't you also go back and turn off the water in that water main so it doesn't continue to flood other neighborhoods?
Well, if the analogy were appropriate, yes, but I don't think the analogy is appropriate. The fact of the matter is that people who are crossing the border, the point being made by the World Health Organization is this is in other countries now. Which borders do we close? Do we close the Canadian border too, then Canada? Do we close flights coming out of countries in Europe where it has been identified now? We're told that is not an efficacious use of our effort. We should be focusing on mitigation.
Let me ask this, and this is by no means a gotcha type of question, I promise. But if a member of your family came to you, no, Mr. Vice President, if a member of your family came to you and said, look, I want to go on a commercial airliner to Mexico and back within the next week, would you think it's a good idea?
I would tell members of my family, and I wouldn't go anywhere in confined places now. It's not that it's going to Mexico. It's you're in a confined aircraft. When one person sneezes, it goes all the way through the aircraft. That's me. I would not be at this point, if they had another way of transportation, suggesting they ride the subway. So from my perspective, what it relates to is mitigation. If you're out in the middle of a field and someone sneezes, that's one thing. If you're in a closed aircraft, a closed container, a closed car, a closed classroom, it's a different thing.
People magazine came out with its magazine of the 100 most beautiful people in the world, Mr. Vice President. In it is a section on Barack's beauties. And in that section, Michelle Obama, Chief of Staff Rahm Emanuel, Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner, even the Assistant to the President, Reggie Love. And Mr. Vice President, you were not on the list. How disappointed are you?
I'm extremely disappointed. Rahm made it and I didn't. I mean, I am really disappointed.
Better luck next year, sir.
I wish you hadn't told me that. You've ruined my whole day.
You've got more pressing issues. Vice President Joe Biden, Mr. Vice President, thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Matt.
All right.